Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, a calm 4th of July at the resort. A new marquee is in place for the 70th anniversary. Some rarely seen items are on their way to Disneyland.
A chance to tour Walt's Storybook mansion this summer. A former shop-turned-seating area is back to a shop again. We talk about our experience visiting the 1901 Lounge and Club 33 and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Howdy, partners. For your safety, remain seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast. And be sure to watch your ears. If any of you folks are wearing hats or glasses, best remove them, because Tag and Teresa have the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of July 9th, 2025. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Tig Bushman. Happy birthday, Teresa. When this posts, it is Teresa's birthday.
It is.
Well, we would like to thank everyone who supports the show. This week, we'd like to give a special shout out to Callie A. for becoming a new supporter, and Tammy C., Anna W., and Shannon W. for continuing your support. If you'd like to join these folks and help support the show and get ad-free versions of each episode, access to our supporter-only chat, things like the book club that the last version of is coming up here next month, and a bunch of other perks, head on over to DLWeekly.net/support and become an official weekly tier.
Now let's get to the news.
Extra, extra, read all about it. DL Weekly reports from intrepid correspondents Tag and Teresa. You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Breaking news!
Guests who were at Disneyland on the 4th of July were able to celebrate more than the birthday of the United States. Crowds were way down. This was likely due to most Magic Keys being blacked out, and the price for the one-park, one-day ticket was $200. No festive decorations were installed this year due to the 70th, and the 4th fireworks show wasn't as heavily publicized. However, that meant that guests could walk on to quite a few attractions and enjoy the park with much less of a crowd.
I am here to hear that because Disneyland is best when there's not a lot of people and you can just enjoy things and get on. Now, I should have looked before we were recording, but do you know what the weather was like in Anaheim on the 4th?
I was going to say warmer, but still not. I have a very skewed way of describing weather in Anaheim, especially with being here in the Midwest. We had very hot, very humid weeks the past couple of weeks here. So I'm looking at the temps in Anaheim and I'm like, mid-80s, low 80s sounds beautiful, but mid-80s, low 80s when you're in the sun all day also gets very hot. So make sure if you are heading to the parks, lots of water, hydrate, bring your hats, bring your fans, bring your cooling devices to help keep yourself more comfortable in the hot weather. But the thing that's wild, we've been reporting on this the last couple of years. With Keys, with the blockout dates, summers have become almost the new, low crowd time of the year,
season.
Which that's 100% opposite of what it had always been. So it's still really tough to kind of wrap your brain around. And I think a lot of people, us included, still have it in our heads that, you don't want to go in the summer. It's so hot and it's so crowded and it's so this and that. But there's going to be more busy days than others, but apparently July 4th was a very good day crowd-wise to experience the parks.
The other thing, too, with summer is even Disney knows this because a lot more attractions now are because it used to be in the summer, they never refurbished anything. And now summer seems to be the refurbishment. I mean, we have things like, the Matterhorn's going back pretty soon, but we've had a few things shut down or whatever for that. So crazy. I was trying to see really quick. I guess it doesn't really show me. Oh, yeah. Even Marquee is blocked out on July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So I think it's just the top tier.
Which, by the way, we didn't put in the news, but the Believe and Inspire, those are the top two, right? The Believe and the Inspire keys still have sales open if it's something that you would like to get in on if you do not currently have a Magic Key. Well, as July 17th nears, one of the last pieces have fallen into place for the 70th anniversary. The new marquee at the Main Street Opera House was installed this past week. The new sign now features both Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln and Walt Disney: A Magical Life. The new blue sign replaces the darker red sign that was there before, and it looks pretty dang amazing.
It does. I think it'll take a little bit of time to get used to the new color, with it being that royal blue instead, because for many, many years, right, like you said, it was that kind of like a deep red, kind of almost like a burgundy-ish color, but I think it looks really sharp. This makes sense. Like, this is the best way to do it. The sign looks the same. Tag actually just pulled up a image of what the sign had looked like before, but it looks like shape-wise, it's the same shape, obviously different wording on it. But I think it's really cool that it still says, like, Opera House up in the little, I don't know, archway there. But in the center, it says, now featuring 2 dramatic theater presentations. And one side of the sign says, A Magical Life, Walt Disney. And the other side says, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln.
The only thing that's bugging me about this is the show. My understanding is the show is called Walt Disney: A Magical Life. But to make it even on the sign, they put... Because if you haven't seen the sign, the right-hand side says, in a smaller font, Great Moments with, and then it's Mr. Lincoln. And then on the other side, it says A Magical Life in the smaller font and Walt Disney. So it's kind of like Walt Disney, Mr. Lincoln. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It works. Like, that's just a weird nitpick, but it's just kind of like, I was looking at it and I was like, is it called A Magical Life Walt Disney, or is it called Walt Disney: A Magical Life? I'm pretty sure it's Walt Disney: A Magical Life. But anyway.
Well, I don't know, because we were talking about this before we recorded the show. The attraction, which is opening on, like, officially opens on the 17th, Walt Disney: A Magical Life, is not on the Disneyland website right now. The only thing that's listed is Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, which, of course, a lot of people online have been worried because it, on the 17th and beyond, says that Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is closed. So a lot of people are assuming that that was insinuating that Walt Disney: A Magical Life was not going to be opening on the 17th when they had announced it. But I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to have 2 until they go back and forth. It's kind of like Soarin', right? Because they've got Soarin' around the world and Soarin' over California. I've not paid close enough attention, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that in the app and on the website, they have it listed, even though it's the same attraction, same attraction space, we'll say. It's not the same attraction space. They have it listed separately. So I'm going to assume that Walt Disney: A Magical Life, the attraction listing on the website and on the app, will appear either on the 16th or the 17th. But it's just a little odd because it's kind of this weird nothingness right now, even though the show's debuting. Holy cats! Next week, Tag, and we will be there. That just dawned on me that we're a week away.
Is it a week?
Yeah, next week. Hoo-hoo. Hot dog.
Yeah, it looks like they just haven't put it on they won't put it on the website till it's
I think they're going to wait until the official open on
a new show will debut.
But it just says in 2025.
Read more on the Disney Parks blog. But my question is, when I click on this, does it tell me?
It doesn't, because that was the article. I just went in this loop earlier today. If you click it's the announcement from D23, which did not have a date listed, just 2025.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny that's what they... But, oh no, because this still just has Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln and...
Something else super exciting that is happening on the 17th is the final verse is coming to It's a Small World.
Yes.
And it's not only coming...
Disney World, too.
Yep, it's not only coming to It's a Small World in Disneyland, which we knew, but it's also going to be debuting in Walt Disney World Small World as well. Well, part of the new Opera House experience will be a new exhibit from the Walt Disney Archives and the Walt Disney Family Museum. Several items were painstakingly packed up and driven to the park to be installed from the museum in San Francisco. Tell me this is a Disneyland podcast without. Okay,
So
we'll
no,
try
we should
that
definitely
again.
leave that in because that was hilarious.
Try that again. Several items were painstakingly packed up and driven to the park to be installed from the museum in San Francisco. More than 30 objects were loaned to the resort, many of which have never been on display outside of the Family Museum. The exhibit opens with the new show on July 17th.
Did you see this Instagram video from the Walt Disney Family Museum? It's linked in the show notes.
I love
There's a
that
cute
they shared
little video.
this.
Yeah, of them getting ready. So they needed to crate all of these things. And man, I did not realize how in-depth crating things is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there was a guy creating brand new pieces of wood to, like, package this up and everything. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, because what would happen? Like, what if that truck is in a car accident or something? You want to
Yeah.
make sure that all of this stuff is done well. There's a ton of stuff. I'm very, very excited to see. Many of the artifacts, like Teresa said, are being publicly exhibited for the very first time outside of the museum, which is super cool. So I'm excited to see all this stuff there. And eventually we got to get back to the Walt Disney Family Museum.
I think it's so cool for people like myself that maybe have not been able to visit the Walt Disney Family Museum yet, keyword yet, that you get to see, like, that the museum's almost like coming to you and coming to Disneyland, and that it will be displayed there. I think this was a really great partnership or great collaboration between Disneyland and the Walt Disney Family Museum to bring some of these things,
And the archives.
to bring these things out for the public to see and experience while they're enjoying the theme park.
I totally agree. I'm very excited to see this next week. Well, weekly tiers who are interested in visiting Walt's 1930s estate in the Hollywood Hills will have a few opportunities this summer. Known as Walt Disney's Storybook Mansion, Walt and Lillian lived here and raised their daughters in the mansion. It is rarely open to the public, but for $75 per person, you can get a tour of the property on Saturday, July 12th, Saturday, July 26th, or Saturday, August 2nd. There are 3 showings. Each of the days, 11:30 a.m., 2:30 p.m., and a 1 p.m. tour. So if you want to get this, be sure to get some tickets soon because they are sure to sell out.
This is such a cool thing. Dusty Sage over from SnackChat has, I want to say he's very involved, and I believe
he gives the
is
tours,
the guide, for the tours, which this is just such a very cool, very rare glimpse into, like, Walt's personal life, I guess would be a good way of saying it. Because, right, this was his home. This was the home that he lived in and his family lived in and raised their children for years. And it's, Tag and I, when we did it was during 2021 when we were in Southern California, but the parks were not open yet. We had just experienced a touch of Disney. We did like a self-guided tour of different Walt sites in the LA area. And this was one of the places that we drove by. And let me tell you, it's not easy to drive by and see this home. It's kind of hidden, I guess, from like street view. So it's not something that you can really even get a glimpse of without
Unlike like some of his other homes where you could literally like walk up to it.
Yeah. You could like walk on the sidewalk right next to it, but not this one. This one's like hidden behind trees and like kind of up perched on like a ledge type thing. It's above street level with how it's kind of like built into the side of the hill there. So very cool experience. We're very excited for everyone that gets to go and have this very cool look into one of Walt's homes. And just the fact, come on, it's called the Storybook, Storybook Mansion. It's got to be super cool, right? With a name like that, a nickname like that. There's all sorts of cool Disney events that they've hosted there too.
Well, it said that there's the Tiny Seven Dwarfs Cottage, which is the playhouse that Walt himself built for his daughters. That's still there. You get to check out his personal screening room that was there. I just liked this little know before you go thing we have it linked in the show notes if you want to get tickets. I just thought it was really funny because they're like, no touching furniture or decor. And I was just thinking, no touchy.
No touchy. Another interesting one, though, it says no backpacks, which I understand, or high heels. I'm guessing they must be
For the
concerned
carpet,
about
probably, or the flooring.
the floors and if there's any, to not damage or anything.
Not wheelchair accessible, and there are. It says this historic home has many stairs and is not wheelchair accessible. Guests with mobility concerns may find it challenging, so know that.
The thing that's also really neat about this space is there are several iconic photos of Walt that were taken within this home that you can kind of see like where he was when that photo was taken and all that stuff. So it's just a very cool, intimate look into, the life of Walt Disney. Well, it seems like overnight, the old Port Royale shop was converted to a seating area for guests from a gift shop. Well, just one more night, and it's now back to a gift shop again. The shop now features mostly Nightmare Before Christmas merchandise, but otherwise looks much like it did before it was changed to seating.
I was very shocked. So every week before the podcast, I love watching David from Fresh Bake's construction videos. I just love them because I love construction and knowing what's going on and all that stuff. And he came across this and was like, I came in to see how things were going, and it's a shop again. What?
The flip back and forth on this is crazy.
Isn't that weird?
It's crazy. But the thing that's also interesting to me is that a lot of speculation was, they have a Haunted Mansion gift shop now over in the carriage house. And why would we need two? So, overnight, poof, it was a seating space, which I think was great. Honestly, I'm a little sad that we lost that additional seating. But then there was a ton of speculation that, this is just the next, this is just temporary because they're going to expand the Pirates queue into this space. Well, I don't think so anymore, because why would they have moved?
Well, they got rid of Lightning Lane between then too, so they even less need it.
Yeah.
There is speculation, and this seems plausible, that the reason this has come back is this is where your Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion holiday merchandise will be, and Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond store will remain just plain mansion stuff. And when the holidays are over, this will convert back to seating again. Like, this will end up being like a transitional space that is seating sometimes and Haunted Mansion holiday merchandise sometimes. I don't know. It was just something they had mentioned, and I was like, I can kind of see that, because if they can do this in a night, why not?
It's crazy.
Because you don't need Haunted Mansion holiday stuff in the regular part of the year.
That's Disney magic right there. Because if you remember, they it was very light theming, but they rethemed the space to tie into like generically New Orleans. Well, now looking at these photos, they've rethemed the space back to like Haunted Mansion and like more of the like what it was kind of looking like before. So the fact that they've been flip-flopping the theming in addition to just, moving merchandise and tables and displays. And the other wild thing too was they like covered up all of where the displays were, and then they had to, unless maybe everything was hanging up there and you just couldn't see it.
I think they just covered up the pegboards and overnight they just put it back.
Were, like, displayed on the pegboards?
No. I think that what they did was they took out the stuff, and
I think so too. But like, still, that's a lot of work. And the fact that it's overnight transitions is just.
It's crazy.
Very, very cool.
I thought it was weird when I saw that it was a shop again. I'm like, well, somebody's like, it's a shop. It's not a shop. It's a shop. It's not a shop. It's a shop.
It's like Sleeping Beauty with the fairies. Make it pink. Make it blue. Make it pink. Make it an eating area. Make it a shop. Make it an eating area. Make it a shop.
I mean, I don't know. And during the summer, like right now, it seems like you'd need more air-conditioned eating areas. So I don't know.
Who knew that this was going to be such a hot spot for activity that we need to be paying attention to, because at any moment it may change and change again.
And maybe change again. Well, on July 7th, a new Celebrate Happy collection launched. The collection features the brighter colors of the Disneyland 70th celebration. There's a Loungefly mini backpack, a Minnie Mouse ear headband, and a zip-up hoodie. These items can be found in World of Disney, Elias & Company, and the Emporium.
I was quite surprised because I figured that all of the merch had rolled out by this point. So the fact that there was even more was a pretty pleasant surprise. It's a very colorful collection, and it just really highlights the colors that have been used for the Celebrate Happy theming. So like the ears, I actually quite like the ears because it's, if you know that this
You
was...
like the ears?
I know, shocker. I like, it's like an ombre, so the colors kind of like blend and bleed into each other from the blue to the pink to the yellow, and I think it's done really nicely, and it's not in your face like 70th, but it's like a subtle...
Because you don't like things with dates and all that stuff, and you can wear
Sometimes
these
I
and
do.
there's nothing.
Yeah, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Depends on how it's done. I don't like it when it looks like what I call like a billboard, where it's just like, that's the thing is the thing. Like the thing is the year, or the thing. Like I like when it's just not in your face, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So this I like, because I'm sure there's a little thing on the side that says Disneyland 70. So if you, for some reason down the road, forget why you had this very bright and beautiful, colorful item, you can be like, oh yeah, it was for Disneyland 70th.
So you're going to get
I'm
the ears?
trying to think
That's
of
the
how many
question.
different ears there are now just for the 70th.
That's a good question.
3 or 4 that I can think of off the top of my head, which is quite a lot. That's not even counting the ear hats. 3 or 4. So I'm curious to see these in person. And now I'm curious, okay, on the actual 70th, the 17th, will there be more things releasing for the day of?
We'll find out when we're there next week.
We will find out. Our 400th episode is coming up, and we would love to hear from you and have you be a part of the show. Head on over to dlweekly.net/400feedback and tell us something that stands out for you from our 400 episodes. It could be an interview that you liked, a specific snack or cold brew that we talked about, a trivia question or segment, an experience we shared, just any favorite memory that you have. It could even be community related if you are one of our official weekly tiers and have met up with us at the meetups or are in our Discord chat, any of those extra events. Really, anything. If you would love to have your voice played on the show, you can leave that information on a voicemail by calling 657-345-4445. Otherwise, head on over to dlweekly.net/400feedback to submit your memory.
I think this is going to be really cool because 400 episodes, I mean, we started in 2017. So 400 episodes later, obviously 100 episodes from now is going to be the big 500. I don't know what we're going to do for that. But for 400 episodes, we'd love to just share what you've really enjoyed about the podcast with everybody. Because we used to do feedback episodes and stuff way back in the beginning. And so this is kind of another way to get some feedback in from you guys and talk about just like what you liked. And if you do call the number, we'll just play that audio file. Yeah.
And if you've ever, Tag and I have talked about this, I don't know if we've necessarily mentioned it on the DL Weekly podcast or if it's been on live streams. I know for sure when we are guests on other folks' podcasts, which, quick little shout out, I was just a guest on the Swinging Wake podcast to talk about my time on the Disney Treasure and specifically my time in the Haunted Mansion parlor. So go check that out if you'd like to hear about it. But I know we're really good about talking about, because it's different when we're doing the show versus when we're talking about the show, if that makes sense. And I know I speak for both of us when Tag and I are both just utterly amazed at what DL Weekly has become. It's completely surpassed both of our expectations and wildest dreams.
I don't even know if we had expectations.
I don't know. We didn't have expectations, so we that was an easy surpass. But it is just the experiences that we've had because of this show, the people that we've met because of this podcast, the connections we've made, the community we've built. It's just absolutely incredible. And like I said, it just blows both of our minds. So we just would love to hear, how DL Weekly is part of your life and what it means to you. Really, what this is, as we're sitting here doing this is Tag and I just talking about Disney nerdy stuff together in my attic in our makeshift podcast space. It has grown and it's matured over the years, but really it's just two friends talking with each other, but it's being broadcast and shared out into the world and touching so many lives, which I think that's probably the impact we didn't realize that we'd have, was how many people that this would reach out to and the impact that it may have
Well, and the impact that it's had on us. Like,
Yeah.
like how many people have we met through this?
I mean, come on. The fact that we're sitting here and casually talking about like, we're going to Disneyland next week. Like, pinch me. How stinking cool is it that first of all, I thought it was amazing that we were going once a year. Now we're so fortunate and can go multiple times a year. And it's not just to the parks. It's to all these other cool fan events that we've learned about, like the Disneyana fan club events, the Mouse Meet event that we're going to be participating in 2 week and a half. Crazy amazing. So we would love to hear from you and hear what the podcast means to you, and even just what Disneyland means to you.
Yeah. So DLWeekly.net/400 feedback. If you can't seem to find it that way, you can go to DLWeekly.net, and there is a section at the top of the webpage that says interact, and there is a link that says episode 400 feedback, and that is where you can send in your message through there, or the phone number. And if you can't remember the phone number is also on the website on the right-hand side on any of the posts, basically. So we look forward to hearing from as many of you who want to share.
Yeah.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free pocket pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
We have to get the snacks for Tag and Teresa and James and Bern. Oh, and Cinderella. Time for SnackChat.
Well, this week for SnackChat, we are done with all of our stuff finally. Teresa, I texted her today and said, "Are we done with all of our food?" And she said, "Yes, finally." So we are done with that. And now we're going to continue our tour. We're in DCA. And the first place we're going to hit is one of Teresa's favorites. It is the cappuccino cart. So, Teresa, why don't you talk about what's at the cappuccino cart?
Oh, so many delicious things. But obviously, cappuccino cart, you're going to be going there to get some caffeinated beverages. However, you can also get breakfast and snacks at the cappuccino cart. We've got a carne asada breakfast burrito, which is marinated steak, scrambled eggs, Monterey Jack, and potato bites, all wrapped up in a tortilla blanket. For snacks and pastries, there's sugar cookies, croissants, chocolate chip cookies, as well as chocolate croissants. And for all of my caffeine friends that need either their cold brews or their mochas or their just plain black drip coffee, we've got different seasonal offerings that will rotate through here. Currently, we have a 70th anniversary blend from Joffrey's, as well as a banoffee pie cold brew, which was delicious if you remember us talking about that recently. But you can also get espresso drinks here, just, a single or a double shot of espresso. There's iced coffees, cafe mochas, lattes, Americanos, cappuccinos. There's something that's really delicious if you're an iced coffee type person, whether it's iced coffee or cold brews, they have a Vietnamese iced coffee here, which we actually had. Of all the times, the one time I had this was during our VIP tour. We stopped for a midday, get a little extra pep in our step break. And I ordered the Vietnamese iced coffee, which is Vietnamese coffee, which is made with condensed milk. So it's a different sweetness, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's also, I believe, a bit more caffeinated. So if you need really an extra pep in your step, I'd go for this. But delicious.
For the folks who need different things, there's also some hot beverages like regular coffee, hot tea, hot cocoa. You can get assorted flavor shots, of course. There's even some alcoholic beverages at the location. So there's a nectar and lilikoi passion fruit hard juice. There's an iced coffee with liqueur. There's just a regular coffee with liqueur or a hot chocolate with liqueur. Then they also have a mango guava iced tea, bottled water, a Monster Energy Zero Ultra, and a Simply Orange Juice. So quite a selection of things that you can get at this location.
Especially
I only thought they just did coffee.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially considering it's not that big of a space. So it's amazing they're able to fit this all in there.
Yeah. So our next location is Corn Dog Castle, and this is over kind of as you go towards Goofy Sky School. And there's a bunch of seasonal offerings that we might touch on in a minute, but generally the main things they have here is they have an original corn dog, a cheddar cheese stick, and a hot link corn dog, and a couple different alcoholic beverages. They have a Stereo Brewing Company Perfect Day IPA and a Modelo Especial for alcoholic beverage, and then some other assorted beverages. What are some of the current seasonal things? Anything stick out to you?
So this is a place that I would not assume you could find things like celebration sippers, different celebration travel tumblers, the stainless steel travel tumblers. There's a Chippendale orb sipper there currently, as well as a Tinkerbell straw clip and a Mickey Mouse balloon straw clip. So some of those, I'm not going to call them popcorn buckets because they're not popcorn buckets, but that same kind of in the same vein of like collectible items like a popcorn bucket.
We've never
sippers,
talked about
straw
this.
clips, and fun themed, like more functional drink items can be found here. So that's interesting. I have seen that.
We're talking about the Chippendale.
Yeah, the Chippendale sipper, the Chippendale orb sipper. I feel like I've seen that in Disneyland in Toontown, which makes sense. I didn't realize that you could also get it in DCA though. Good to know.
This is super cute.
It's
very
very
Chippendale
cute.
like on a floating teacup on a fish bowl.
But they
with like a pencil through it.
But it's like they made their own little thing. So the bottom is a fish bowl, and for a quote unquote lid, there's a teacup on top of the fish bowl that is, I don't know, they filled it with something, but there's like a little wrench in there. The straw looks like it's a pencil that's stuck in there. It's giving me like the Gadget Coaster vibes.
Sure.
Where it's like, and then Chip and Dale, one of them's wearing a thimble, one of them's wearing a bottle cap as a hat. Very cute.
There is one food option on here, which is a chili cheese corn dog with chips.
I missed it. I got distracted.
No, that's okay. A chili cheese corn dog. That's interesting.
Look at that. You just never know.
So that's
Who would have thought that the cappuccino cart has a more expansive or extensive menu than Corn Dog Castle? You've got the tiny little cart versus a more physical, larger footprint location.
Crazy.
Pretty impressive.
Well, it is that time again for our friend Eric over at Concierge to catch us up on other Disney news.
Hello, everyone. This is Eric Johnson with Concierge, and welcome to the D180. While Teg and Teresa cover all things Disneyland, in the D180, we take a spin around the rest of the Disney universe, and we do it in 180 seconds. Let's jump right in. I am so looking forward to Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival this year. The Eat to the Beat concert series was just announced again, and as usual, it's packed with Epcot vets and newcomers too. Maybe Sheila E. and Hanson can show the ropes to some of these newbies like Jordan Sparks and the Beach Boys. Yes, that's right. It's actually really hard to believe that the Beach Boys have never played at the Eat to the Beat series before. Oh yeah, for those who are not familiar, Eat to the Beat is an integral part of the food festival. Several nights each week, Disney brings in heavy hitters from the past and present to entertain in free concerts. The venue is right across the World Showcase Lagoon from where you enter. Dining packages at most of the restaurants around the land earn you a reserved spot closer to the stage. Check out the Disney Parks blog or ask a concierge to find out who's playing when you're at the park. If you do plan to be there, get your dining reservations early. Dining packages move fast at most restaurants. Add in the popularity of some of these musicians, and those reservations are gone in a flash. And hey, while you're at Epcot, stop by Test Track, which reopens July 22nd. Cast member previews are underway, so there's a lot you can see about the new look of the attraction. Interesting point, the refreshed ride will join the Lightning Lane Multi-Pass right from the start. Soarin' will get bumped down to Tier 2. The queue will also have a standby line for those who don't want to shell out for a Lightning Lane, so at least there's an option for everybody to get a dose of that 65-mile-per-hour attraction without having to pay for it. Time is running out on Adventures by Disney early booking rates. For select adventures outside the U.S., get $500 off per guest. In the U.S., look for $400 per trip. Returning adventurers get even bigger discounts. This is all for 2026 trips, so you better get planning. Time is up at the end of July. National Geographic Expeditions has a slightly longer booking period that ends August 31st. This is for cruises in 2026 and 2027, including their newest destination in South Africa. There are tons of options, tons of discounts. Give it a look. I hope you enjoyed our quick spin around the rest of the Disney universe. If you would like to learn more about these Disney adventures or just have a few questions, please come on over. Visit the social media and websites of both DL Weekly and Concierge. Then reach out to your personal travel planner, Teresa. She looks forward to planning something special for you and yours. I'm Eric Johnson, and this has been your D180.
Thanks, Eric.
Your attention, please. DL Weekly Trivia is now leaving for a Grand Circle tour of the Magic Kingdom, with stops at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. All weekly tiers for...
Welcome to Trivia Land, where we've got some awesome listener-submitted questions all lined up for you. Tig and Teresa, do you have awesome knowledge all lined up for these questions?
Yeah, of course, clearly.
We're always ready with awesome knowledge. Now, if the awesome knowledge we have pertains to these questions, I just don't know.
Oh, okay. So we got to see if we're on the same track here.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's find out. Our first listener-submitted question tonight is from listener Cassie W. Which ride has the highest capacity per hour to move people through in Disneyland?
Ooh. Is it an Omni mover, or do you think it's a boat?
Disneyland, or like
which
the resort?
ride in Disneyland Resort has the highest capacity to move people per hour?
You think something in DCA is higher? My.
I just want to clarify, because I'm being a weirdo. An attraction.
Okay,
so not like the parking lot tram. Well, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like it's gotta be Small World or Pirates.
Does the train
Mansion.
count? Oh. The train's a hard one, though, because you don't have to get off at each thing.
Yeah.
Now I want to check. I think this actually beats out the parking lot tram.
I wonder how you would measure capacity for the train, because you're right, you don't have to get off.
I assume that they measure as you enter the train,
I suppose,
or they know what the capacity is, and then each loop around would be one of those capacity.
Sure.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think what eats people. I feel like Pirates and no, not the monorail.
You don't like the monorail?
I think that
if it's at full capacity.
No.
Okay.
There's only the two trains that loop back and forth, and those trains aren't that high a capacity. But I'm thinking Pirates is really high. Small World is about the same though, because they also have boats. They have smaller boats though, I think, by just a little bit. The Omnimover stuff is really good too, because it's just constantly going. Mm-hmm. But then that means that Little Mermaid could be up there too.
Yeah. Yeah, which is a longer track, do you suppose? Little Mermaid or Haunted?
Haunted, I think. Because Little Mermaid just goes down, around, and you're done.
Yeah. I don't know.
But you know what, though? You might. I don't know. That's a good trivia question. Which one's longer?
My original was either Pirates or Small World. I'm going to go with Pirates.
I'm just going to go with Crazy, and I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to say the Disneyland Railroad.
The Railroad. I feel like that one could, like, it could be, but I don't. It's harder to, like, for me to commit to that because I don't know how you would measure that.
Yeah.
Since it's...
So I think Pirates and Railroad. Final answers, Vern.
Final answers, Pirates and the Railroad. All right. Your second listener-submitted question from listener Ayla T., who must have enjoyed the live show as much as I did. How many years was the genie stuck in the lamp?
10,000 years with such a crick in the neck.
I would concur that 10,000 years is a long time.
Do you think it's the right answer?
It is the right answer,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so you're both saying 10,000 years the genie was stuck in the lamp.
Uh-huh.
Well, wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't the genie in Aladdin, a Musical Spectacular, give a whole countdown? 10,000 years, so many whatever, so many days and hours and whatever minutes.
Oh,
but I don't think he's going for that. So we'll stick with 10,000.
All right. Your third listener-submitted question from listener Dave M. What standard rooms is the Haunted Mansion missing?
Like a bathroom?
Bathroom is a good one.
Like a standard room in a house?
Just like in a regular house, like in
Okay,
your normal house, you
there's
got
no bathroom.
bedroom,
There's
and yeah.
no kitchen.
Oh.
Are there bedrooms?
See, we don't know because they're closed doors.
Yeah, there's closed doors, but we don't see a bedroom.
Yeah, because there's an attic, there's a hallway, there's the dining room.
Yeah, there's a dining room.
There's the seance room.
Yeah, which, I mean, every regular house has
Yeah,
one of those.
obviously.
There's a foyer, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's no living room.
There's whatever the stretch.
Oh, there's no living room.
No living room.
Oh, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rest of the podcast will just be Teresa because I am leaving.
There's no living room.
Good luck doing the discussion topic by yourself. No, because what would you consider the stretching room? Like, what type of room was that supposed to be?
It's like the seance room. It's one of those. Well, clearly every house has a stretching room. In the movie, it's like a living room. But I mean, in the attraction, there's no furniture, so I wouldn't call it a living room.
Okay,
those are what I'm gonna say.
So kitchen, bathroom, bedroom,
and living room.
Even
though it was a terrible joke.
Yeah. I think that's our final answer, Vern.
So you're saying kitchen, bathroom, living room, bedroom?
Yes.
Kitchen, bathroom, living room, bedroom.
I mean, also, doesn't every house have a cemetery out back?
Again, yeah.
With mausoleums.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And a carriage
and a pet
house.
cemetery.
And a carriage house.
Oh, carriage, yeah. Who doesn't have a carriage house?
Yeah.
Oh. Your fourth and final regular round question from listener Ezekiel. What year did Country Bear Jamboree open at Disneyland?
Oh, boy.
I'll give you a hint. Neither of you were alive.
I figured that.
My guess was either late 60s, early 70s is where my mind is going.
I don't know, 1972.
Oh, that's weird. That's what I was going to randomly say, too. We'll go with it. 1972.
Okay, so you're randomly saying 1972.
You know what I'm just realizing as we're reflecting on our last question? Mortals could not live in the Haunted Mansion. There's all of the essential rooms are not present.
That's okay. We don't need to live in it.
Yeah,
we have the rest of the world.
No, I know, but I was just like, oh.
You could live there, you just might be uncomfortable.
Yeah, you just wouldn't.
You would renovate and turn certain things into rooms and bathrooms. Plus, in honesty, we don't know what's behind all the doors.
Yeah.
There could be bedrooms and bathrooms and a kitchen. We just don't see them.
Yes.
Vern is very amused by this.
And your bonus question from listener Shanna D. When drawing the initial designs of Main Street, Harper Goff took inspiration from his hometown for many of the building designs. Where is Harper Goff's hometown?
It's in Colorado.
Fort Collins.
Fort Collins,
Colorado.
Yeah. I couldn't remember the name of the town.
This is always I like how this person asked the question, because if you were just to generically say, what was the inspiration for Main Street?
People say Marceline.
Yeah, because I feel like it's both. It's Marceline and it's Fort Collins. But thank you for clarifying with specifically Harper Goff. Where did he draw inspiration and what was his hometown? That obviously is not Marceline. So yeah. Fort Collins, Colorado.
Fort Collins, Colorado. Final answer?
Yes.
All right. Well, listeners, how do you think they did? How did you do listening at home? If you stick around until after the discussion, we can all find out together.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting exclusive offer just for you.
For a limited time, you can get a free pocket pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just go to getcopperhead.com. That's getcopperhead.com for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Getcopperhead.com.
Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
Well, for this week's discussion topic, we are going to talk about our very wonderful, very amazing experience that we got to have during this most recent trip. We were able to step foot and experience not only Club 33 for a second time, which I'm sorry, pinch me, the fact that I get to say we've been there once, but now we've been there twice is absolutely incredible. But we also got to go experience 1901, which for those of you that may not know, Club 33, of course, is located in Disneyland, specifically in New Orleans Square. 1901 is a private club and lounge located in Disney California Adventure. It's actually hidden in plain sight, we learned. We knew it was within the Carthay Circle building, but we didn't know where the door was or where, we didn't really, it's very mysterious to both Tag and I. We knew it existed. Past that, we didn't really have much information and knew very much about the space. But so, again, shout out to we're going to call them our fairy godparents that were able to give us this really, really wonderful, really incredible experience. It's just so amazing to step into these places that are hidden within a park that we spend so much time in, we know so many different things about, and just really love all the things about. But it's so different. It's just very, very cool. If you ever get the chance, I highly, highly, highly recommend taking the time to go check these spaces out if you are extended an invite.
I don't think we need to persuade anybody to do that. I think they would totally just do it. Yeah, so the area is really cool. So I almost think it's more hidden, if you will, than Club 33, because kind of there's a lot of lore behind Club 33, right? Like people were like, what is the 33? And there's, back in the day before they got the remodel, there was the door and you'd go into the elevator thing, and now there's a different door, and like, I don't know, there's people that just kind of more know about it because like there's a whole mystique behind it. With Club 1901 or the 1901 Lounge, it's a little bit different because it's like a newer area. You still it's still super exclusive and there's not that much known about it, but I feel like it just hasn't had the time for people to like know everything and post 100 things on the internet about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the internet isn't as abuzz about 1901, and so just in general, less people know about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was wild walking up to the door, because actually as we were walking up, I was kind of like, where are we? Like, we didn't know we didn't even know where the front door was, and so I was kind of like, where are we going? And we had to walk through folks that were waiting to go into, just kind of lingering and waiting to get seated or waiting to go into Carthay, or maybe they were just there enjoying the shade for all I know. But we had to kind of, go through, and they even were kind of like looking like, where are they going? Because it's a very unassuming door. It's a door that all of you have seen every time you have walked past the front of Carthay Circle, because that's where it is. It's at the front of Carthay Circle. Instead of going into the main door, which kind of veers, if you're standing under the rotunda area there, veers off to the left, the door to 1901 is just to the right.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you look carefully, there is a little 1901 like circle, so you kind of have an idea that it's there.
Yeah.
There is, when you walk in that door, there's kind of a reception desk where you check in and they'll seat you and all of that stuff. There's also a cabinet of merchandise, because of course there is. We did enjoy looking and getting some stuff from that a little bit later on. But then there's just kind of a nice space. One of the things Teresa mentioned was that you've walked by this door a bunch of times, you probably never even noticed it. If you are walking along the parade route towards Cars Land, Avengers Campus, that route, those windows on that first floor that look into Carthay, that is the 1901 lounge. It is right there. So it feels very classic Hollywood kind of, that old-timey kind of, classy, old-timey, and just kind of like warm and an intimate space, because everything's kind of, it's not a big expanse, and neither is Club 33, but like it's not a big expansive thing. You got all these nice little areas to sit down, and you can have, just 2 people or groups of 4 or even bigger. So you get these nice little areas. One of the things that I liked the most was there was a bar that we actually got sat next to, and it had 4 chairs behind it. It had Walt and Lillian and Roy and Edna, which was Roy's wife, just at the bar. And we were sitting at these 4 little seats literally in front of that. And so it was really, really cool to see that.
The thing that I was the most pleasantly surprised about with this space is it is filled with all sorts of different historic mementos, either from Walt, we saw like caricatures of the 9 old men, all of these kind of like original folks that we have to thank for the creation of the company, the parks, the films, all the things that we know and love. It was kind of like this, almost like you were walking into a private collector's home. You had like the comfort and coziness of like being in like someone's home type space, but then you also had all this attention to detail like you'd see almost in like a museum space. I probably could have spent tons and tons of time. In fact, like thinking back on the experience, I am excited to maybe have the chance to go back and just be that nerd that walks around and really takes in all of the different photos, because looking back on it, you're kind of in one space. It's kind of like these little separate rooms, so it's easy to not see all of the things because you don't, like, again, it's like all these little separate rooms that you're in, which makes it nice because then it's very quiet, because it's not just this one big space that everyone's in together. But just so many beautiful touches. Just a really, I don't know what I was expecting, but this blew my expectations.
Apparently, I don't know if this is permanently there. I'm looking. Well, I'll put the link in the show notes to this, but somebody has a fan site that has like a photo tour of Club 1901, and they have a bunch of stuff. Apparently, there's one with an animator drawing Snow White, and it says if you watch the photo carefully, you may see her begin to move.
There were some magic photos that one of the servers that did give us was pointing a couple things out to us, did like mention and point out to me. So I mean, right? It's a magical area, the parks, and then you're in an extra magical space within this lounge. So of course some of the paintings may or may not come to life.
And they had, the Walt Disney Archives had a display there that had a bunch of ticket books and different things from
that was cool
for the Disneyland 70th. And you're absolutely right. I do feel like that one of the things that I don't know if regret's the right word, but like I wish I would have had more time is to go look at all of these photos. There's so many historical photos of Walt, Lillian, the family, just like and doing stuff.
They're photos that you may probably have not seen other places. It's not like the same old photos that you've seen a bunch of different places. These felt like unique and very, I don't know. It was a very magical space. I feel like we could go on and on and on and on and on about it. But
what
it's
did you have to
also
drink?
Kind of one of those things that I think you just need to like experience to really get it. But it was just so cool. What did I have to drink? I believe I had a pineapple daiquiri is what I had to drink, and it was delicious.
I don't remember. I had something non-alcoholic. I don't know. I don't think I took a picture of the menu, so that didn't help. But I had something, and it was of course was very, very good. And we were right by the bar, so it was cool seeing some of the things that they were making. But yes, 1901, unexpectedly very charming, and really kind of. It's not Club 33, but it can definitely like stand its own with what it's trying to do.
Especially if you're a Disney history fan.
Yes.
So moving on, we also got to spend some time in Club 33 again, which was, again, just super incredible. We are so thankful for the invites that were extended for us to be able to experience both of these amazing, beautiful, very cool and unique spaces. And Club 33 is just a different vibe. Still very, how do I want to say? It's still very crazy to step off of the streets of New Orleans Square in the middle of the theme park and having all the theme park noises that you just get used to and you don't even realize there's so much noise going on around you until you step into the door and whoosh, suddenly silence. It's like you've been transported to a different dimension or something. I don't know. Not a scary dimension like you do in the Tower of Terror. A nice, wonderful, relaxing
I want to know what soundproofing they use because and throughout Club 33 because you never hear the theme park.
Yeah.
So whatever they've done, I want to know this magic because, you know, if anybody who's ever lived in an apartment complex or butted up against someone else, you always hear everything. And so you literally, like Teresa said, you walk in, you close that door behind you, and it's like you are in a void.
It's its own type of magic.
Magical. Yeah, it's magical.
So again, you walk in, there's a reception area. There is the Court of Angels space, which very, very well done. They had a great, fun, colorful display celebrating the 70th. When we were there, we got to walk up the gorgeous, they're not really spiral staircases, but curved, elegant grand staircase to go up to Club 33, which is situated on the second level. And we were actually in the salon. It's called the Salon Nouveau. It is newer. Club 33 is like the original. The salon was added more recently and is just, it's a little bit more casual in the salon. If you go into the Club 33, into the main dining room, that's where you get your multi-course meal, and it's a very big dining experience. And that's where all the wrought iron balconies are off of the main dining room. But yeah, the Salon Nouveau was actually, again, newest edition. I want to say Kim Irvine had a big hand in creating the space and the design of the space. It's beautiful in there. It kind of reminds me of like a peacock with the colors because you've got that kind of royal purples and blues and greens. Just gorgeous.
Yeah, and one of the things that's kind of interesting, so if you think about, you enter this, you go in the door from the Court of Angels, you have, again, another kind of like lobby where there's a counter and there's like the little cabinet that you can buy Club 33 merchandise at, and then to the right, if you're looking at that podium counter space, to the right goes to the main dining room, the left goes down this awesome hall that has wine bottles in it, that is part of the lounge entrance. But beyond that, even also really cool, is there's all these little booths that are along that way that you can sit in. Now, we've never sat in one of those because we've walked by it, but beyond that is the actual salon itself, which has an amazing bar.
It's
there's a link in the show notes to a photo tour of this area too, so you can see what we're talking about. It's very Disney Cruise Line in the way that there's a lot of like things happening behind the bar.
Yeah.
There's things bubbling.
Lots
There's
of magical touches.
Magical touches. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just really cool. It looks very classy. So unique, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just a lot of seating. There's some booths, there's some tables, there's a couple couches you can sit on. Now, to give you an idea of where this is, if you are sitting at Tiana's Palace eating outside, above the shade structure on that balcony that's up there, those windows are the salon windows.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of gives you an idea where it is, and it takes up that whole space. So literally right below this space is where you get food for Tiana's Palace.
Yeah. It's again just very gorgeous. It's very relaxing to be in this space. One of my favorite fun little like design elements that they did is the lighting, because the lighting in the main salon, it looks like it's stained glass that's like on the ceilings above you, and it gives the illusion of like it's like sunlight coming through almost is kind of what it reminds me of. There's all sorts of really gorgeous paintings and displays around, and they all kind of tie back into Disney, specifically New Orleans Square in theming. And the other really cool fun nod that's in this space that is a nod again to the original Club 33 was the elevator. The elevator that used to be in Club 33 before they did the renovations is now a booth for one or a cozy booth for two, kind of tucked in the corner there. So I thought that was a really neat thing that they kept and brought new life into the, brought a little bit of the old in a new way into the new space. Does that make sense?
Yes. Right next to this is probably one of my favorite pictures that are on the wall, and it is a ghost band playing instruments. And I took a picture of this, and I don't know why. This picture is amazing. It
just like captivates you. There's something, it's very like haunting, but not in a scary way, not in a creepy way. It's just very captivating.
Now,
so many cool details in this space that the Imagineers lovingly put in here.
I want to say both times we've been to Club 33 and the one time we've been to 1901, as you would guess, the cast members here, top notch.
This is like the best of the best, I think, that they hire in this space, in these spaces, and for good reason. Both of the folks that we got to meet in Club 33 had been there for years and years and years. Honestly, it's no wonder that you would stay there for years and years and years, because what a cool place. You work at Disneyland, but then it's like a whole nother level that you work in these private club spaces, and it's just a whole different thing. I can understand why they stay there. The other thing that's really cool is they remember people. So like they are very good with remembering the members and remembering things like, do you want this is the drink that we know, that we know you always get, or these are the types of things that we know that you enjoy,
or how is your family
here. And they just they're really good with recommendations, knowing people's tastes, especially if you're up there more frequently as a member. So it was just service, but like next level service. I was just very, very impressed. I'm always impressed. This is I don't mean this as a negative on either side. I'm always very, very, it kind of reminded me of like the type of attention to detail that you see on a Disney cruise ship with the serving staff there. They're really good about making connections and remembering all sorts of like details and like almost anticipating your needs before you realize you even had the need.
Yeah. The thing I was also impressed by is sometimes you could think like if you go to a place that like, you show up and like they've, like, I don't know, the place I get my haircut, like they pull up and they have notes of like what my last haircut was. That is not the vibe I get here. The vibe I get here is they do remember these people. Now, all the people that we've ever interacted with in Club 33 have all worked there for a while, like years. Mm-hmm. Like this is their career. And what I thought was particularly fascinating and amazing was not only does the cast member remember the people we were with, because they're, members. But also they've shared things about their life with the members we were with, because they were like, oh, how's your family? Where's so-and-so? Did your kid get off and do that? Like, it's kind of like a family atmosphere that like they get to know each other and learn about themselves. Because, like, I don't know, is there any cast member that you know of at Disneyland that, like, we know anything about their person? Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, so really cool opportunity to do that. And like you said, they're great at recommending things and knowing what you like and remembering, like, the last time you were in, if there was any weird problems or anything. Because somebody came up and was like, oh, did you get that thing taken care of from last time? And, like, I don't know. I'm just like, wow, the fact that you remembered that is just crazy. So, and it's amazing that this is inside of a working theme park that is chaos.
Busy.
Feet from this.
Yeah, that's the thing that's just, I will never get over with these spaces, is how you just feel utterly transported. And again, that's how you know Imagineering did their job and did it super, super well, because you genuinely feel like you've left the theme park and you're somewhere else, because it's just a whole different feel. It's just relaxing. You forget what is outside of those doors. And then it is a little, I am going to say, going back out into the park after being in such a, like, chill, calm, relaxing, beautiful space, and then kind of going back to the, like, hustle and bustle that is the theme park. It's like, oh, okay. You kind of have to, like, not prepare yourself, but kind of, like, get yourself used to, like, the theme park chaos, which we love. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying chaos in a bad light there, but it's just very, very different.
Let's take a mini trip to SnackChat for a minute.
We're gonna.
What did you have? Your thing was really good, I thought.
I don't remember what it was called on the menu, but when we were there, it just so happened that, like, a week or two prior, we were talking about the new menu that was releasing for Club 33 in the lounge there in Club Nouveau. And it was themed to Patrick Bagora. And I just thought it was so stinking cool that little Patrick Bagora was getting his, like, own themed stuff, period. But then also at Club 33 of all places. And basically it was kind of Patrick's little tour of the park. So each of the dishes were themed to an opening day land, or maybe a dining location that had been there a while, whatever. Mine was for Main Street, and you guessed it, it was a fried chicken based thing, because that is a very iconic food dinner item to get off of Main Street. And it was very good. It was 3 pieces of chicken, so it was way more than I was expecting it to be. Thankfully, Tag was able to help me out by taking a piece off of my plate to
it was very good.
Enjoy, but it was absolutely delicious.
It was very good. Like, I love the Plaza Inn chicken, and this was just different. I had something that actually came off of so when you eat in the dining room section, it's like a whole massive thing, and you get multiple courses and everything. But I got the pasta that had some mushrooms with it, and I thought it was very, very good. And then I had to have the crazy Tomorrowland dessert thing that they had that was like a mousse.
That was gorgeous, though,
with Pop Rocks, which was interesting. It looked like Saturn had crashed into dirt, and it was very, very good to eat, and very good. Their bread there was also very good, because they had like a bread plate that was there. So you can't go wrong, man. I mean, there's nothing like either of these locations. And if you do ever get the opportunity to go in, which I hope you do, there isn't a wrong choice.
We just feel so fortunate, and, like, still, like, are pinching ourselves that we've gotten to have these experiences in these beautiful and very unique and exclusive spaces within the parks that we so love. Yeah, bucket list. I was joking because we got to do both of these on the same day. So we did 1901 and Club 33 on the same day. And I knew, right, that Club 33 was on my bucket list, my Disney bucket list. And I knew that 1901 was on my Disney bucket list. But it was that day that I then realized I needed a new entry. And that was to be able to experience both of them the same day. It was the Disney bucket list item I didn't even know that I had that I got to check off that day. It was just absolutely incredible. We just feel so fortunate again, for the relationships and the people that we've met, and then the invites to do these really things that we never dreamed that we'd be able to do, because this is a big deal. There's not that many folks that are members, so it's not like anybody can just go in these spaces whenever they want. So it's very, very magical and very, very special, and we just feel very honored to have been able to do both and to have gotten the invites to do these.
Yeah. So thank you to our fairy god people that made this happen for us. Mm-hmm. And it's great. And like I said, I hope everybody listening to this gets an opportunity to enjoy these spaces, because it really, like Teresa said with the cruise ship, if you haven't been on a Disney cruise yet, it is kind of the pinnacle of Disney, like the entire Disney, thing.
Experience, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, you've heard us talk about our great experiences staying at the Howard Johnson in Anaheim. Well, we have partnered with them to offer our listeners some really great discounts. Weekly tiers can get 15% off their next stay. To take advantage of the discount, head on over to DLWeekly.net and click on the Howard Johnson logo. Be sure to use the promo code on the site to also get the discount. Link will be in the show notes for you as well.
Looks like we're coming in for a landing, gang. But please stay listening until trivia comes to a stop. And then you can walk to the nearest exit. Thanks for listening to the 8th wonder of the world, DL Weekly.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, where we are going to find out the correct answers to tonight's questions, find out how many Teresa and Tag got correct, and find out how many you got correct listening at home. Tag and Teresa, how do you think you did?
You're pretty okay.
Pretty okay?
Yeah, just pretty okay.
That's all the confidence you're going to give me?
About this one. I've got some that we're confident on and some that I'm not as confident on, but I'm curious to know what the real answers are. Like the first one.
Yes.
Well, all right. Let's dive into it and see how you did. Your first listener submitted question from listener Cassie W. Which ride has the highest capacity per hour to move people in the Disneyland resort? You said Pirates of the Caribbean or the Railroad. The correct answer that I was looking for. The parking lot tram has about 200 people per tram. Small World has about 3,300 people per hour. But Pirates of the Caribbean has a capacity of roughly 3,400 per hour.
Woo!
Good job.
I feel like an argument could be made for the Railroad, but it's just how do they measure? Because maybe they don't measure that one, They do, because you walk through the turnstile. Yeah, but that's not like max capacity per hour,
I think it would depend how many trains were on the track and did they fill them to capacity.
Wow, somebody on Reddit 8 years ago did a lot of math. So it said, amazingly, if everyone only rode one stop and got off the trains and they were filled completely, the Disneyland Railroad would have a capacity of 11,072 people an hour.
If it was full and everybody got off.
That's crazy.
If all passengers rode across the park, like did a Grand Circle tour, and when all 4 trains are running, then it would be 5,000 per hour, I think. I don't know. Someone did a lot of math on Reddit. But that's the hard part about the Railroad, is it's an if.
And that's a big if.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we just done the full circuit just for the sake of doing the full circuit?
Whereas, like, the tram, they don't let you continue. No. Keep going and going and going.
And yeah.
And the attractions, obviously, they don't let you keep going. The monorail, they don't even let you have to, like, they make you get off at a certain...
Tomorrowland, yep.
Yeah, they make you get off. You can't just continue going. But the train, the train. You could be on there all day if you really wanted to.
You could. Anyway.
Your second listener submitted question from listener Ayla T. How many years was the genie stuck in the lamp? Both of you must have been paying attention when you saw the live show, because you knew 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
Boom.
Well done.
Woo-hoo.
Your third listener submitted question from listener Dave M. Which standard rooms are missing in the Haunted Mansion? You said the kitchen, the bedroom, the bathroom, and the living room. The correct answer that I was looking for is the kitchen, the bathroom, the living room. You overshot.
Where's the bedroom?
There is a child's bedroom.
What? Where?
I found it when I was watching YouTube earlier tonight. You were watching me watch it.
I'm gonna need a little more information.
It was there.
Well, we overshot it. It's
bedroom.
fine. We still
Yeah.
got the point.
Yeah. I'm still giving you the point. You got all three.
Oh no.
You're good.
No. I need to know. I know. Where is there a child's bedroom? There's a crib in the attic.
That's what was referenced. They
You're
said,
calling
watch for
the crib in the attic a child's bedroom? That poor child.
I'm going off of what
I mean,
I've
they're living in a haunted
when
house.
I'm looking things up, and
that's a stretch.
It's a messed up.
when my research says this is a bedroom in the haunted mansion, I say, hey, I'm going to go with that.
I'm going to just say that behind those doors has to be a bedroom.
There's enough closed doors, and
Yeah. Anyway.
And after the amount of stuff in Reddit that I had to go through.
Oh,
the
Reddit.
arguments that were being made that there was a kitchen, and I was like, what? No.
Where? These are not true
no,
Haunted
yeah,
Mansion
that
fans.
was the one that I was hard no on, but no, they were making an argument about, oh no, there's a scene where a guy lights a fire and you can clearly see that it's a kitchen. And I was like, what? Everybody on Reddit is insane.
I don't think these folks have been on the Haunted Mansion.
No, and then I found another thread that people were debating how they were drawing their haunted mansion, and it took me like 15 minutes before I realized that it was actually somebody's D&D game.
Oh, you're not making yourself sound very credible there.
I at least realized what I was reading, and I didn't use it as verification tools. Some things are harder to verify than others, okay?
Okay, yes,
Your fourth
I get
and
that.
final regular round question from listener Ezekiel. What year did Country Bear Jamboree open at Disneyland? Both of you randomly guessing 1972. The correct answer that I was looking for was 1972.
See, it was in there. It was in there. Rattling around somehow.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say randomly guess, and I'm like, what?
When
How?
you have the same gut as me, I was like, okay, there's got to be something there. Something happened in 1972.
See, the thing is, Vern, like, if I was at Vegas and I had to bet money, that's what I'm like, I don't know, it kind of seems like it, because I don't think I would bet money on it.
Sure. But since there's nothing on the line but bragging rights and pride,
Sure.
you're like, yeah, whatever. Good enough. I get it. No, it's good. And your bonus question tonight from listener Shanna D. When drawing the initial designs of Main Street, Harper Goff took inspiration from his hometown for many of the building designs. Where is Harper Goff's hometown? Both of you agreeing that it is Fort Collins, Colorado. The correct answer that I was looking for was Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh, Fort Collins, Michigan.
I think I just had
That's why I paused on Fort. I was going to say, like, Fort Wayne, Indiana. But no.
Teresa just had a perfect trivia week.
I don't know if I've ever had a perfect trivia week.
Well done, Teresa.
That's not true. I'm pretty sure you had a perfect trivia week before.
Okay, I don't remember having a perfect trivia week before.
If it wasn't for that dang railroad.
That's a toughie. I can make an argument for that one.
Well, listeners, did you have a perfect trivia week listening at home? Do you have the question that can really stump them next week and take away that perfect score from them?
Rude.
If you've got that perfect question and you'd like to hear it live on the air, feel free to send it in to us at dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
And a special thank you to Sidel for editing the podcast.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal podcast companion. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this episode? My scans indicate you have been a good weekly tier. Have a lollipop. Now excuse me while I let out some air. Goodbye.